Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I truly do appreciate you. And if you are new, hi, welcome. Do me a favor, don't forget to hit that button and subscribe. Give this video a big thumbs up. Comment, guys. Comment, talk to me. If you've commented before, you know that I will reply back. Also, don't forget to share this video with friends, family, foe, everyone. Just share it. Turn on your post notifications so that you can hear a ding every time that I upload new content. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get into this video because it's extremely late. Like, I literally dragged my feet, but I wanted to make this video, so we're gonna get it done. I'm going to also just do some wine tasting. I went and purchased these little bottles in a pack of 4 from Walmart, but because I just want to taste them and see what they taste like, I only brought one of each. Shutter Home's Rose is this one, and this is Shutter Home White Zinfandel. Before we get into this video, I want to sage and I want to pray because this video is super heavy. So I want to make sure that throughout the video, we're able to release the energy that we came here to release, and also that we don't carry it back with us when it's done. I just want to sage us real quick, and then we'll pray and we'll get into this sip and we'll get into this discussion. Here's some sage for you. Sage myself down, watch my wig, and we're just gonna let her burn. Let's just pray while she smudges, okay? The universe, we come to you today and we ask that you ease our minds, ease our hearts, allow us to be able to breathe a little bit better. Allow us to not become rageful due to the things that we go through and the things that we intake in life. And I just ask that you allow us to get through this video. And sorry guys, I can't even pray because I'm so ready for this video. Rest in peace to George Floyd. Rest in peace to the 3 babies that were recently killed within the past week or 2 weeks. The 13-year-old that was killed in the alley, Dante Wright, and then the 15-year-old that was literally just killed Tuesday. I will definitely add their names as hashtags. As always, Black Lives Matter. So let's go ahead and get into this, guys. How have you guys been doing? That's number one. Which one should we try first? Let's try the White Zinfandel. How have you guys been doing? I know that this week, this month, has been extremely emotionally heavy, emotionally draining. I'm sure, like everybody else knows, you guys know that we got the verdict on Tuesday for Derek Chauvin. So yeah, why don't we just go ahead and talk about that real quick. First of all, before we dive into that, sadly, in the past week, we've lost 3 kids under the age of 21. Even though Dante was about 17, 18, he was still a child. I know all about life being 18 and whatnot. To be honest with you, when I seen the video of the 15-year-old girl getting shot in her driveway, I was doing my morning routine. I broke down. I cried. I cried for at least 5 minutes. I cried for like 5 minutes, guys. Crying, saying, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna change this? You know, I am not saying that anyone deserves to die by the hands of a police officer, deserves to get murdered. But when it starts to take our babies, it hits a little bit harder. And when I look at that 15-year-old, I was her. Chubby, dark skin, that was me. I understand that everyone is going to try to justify it by saying that she had a knife, and we see that she had a knife, but truth is, had her skin been pale, he would not have pulled out his weapon and aimed and shot her, first and foremost, and second, not shot her as many times, and thirdly, maybe he would have just wounded her, not murdered her. That really shook my core. That was literally the day of when the verdict was read. It was actually at the minute that the verdict was read. So if the verdict was read at 4:30, she got shot literally at 4:30. Now you're taking our kids. You're already taking our fathers. You're already taking our mothers. You're already taking, you know, us as grown people. But now you're targeting our babies that are supposed to be here when it's all said and done, when we're gone. Our kids that are supposed to continue to fight this fight and hopefully the world be changed for them. Now you're taking them away. I haven't even tasted this yet, guys. Let's taste it. Smells kind of nice. That's actually good. It's very light. It's not as sweet as I like my wine, but I would definitely drink the rest. So yeah, guys, that really shook me to my core. I seen a lot of people saying it takes a lot to get me upset, but seeing that 15-year-old get shot, it just really did something. The saddest thing is that she was calling the cops to get help for herself, and the cop comes and shoot her. Now, there's a whole bunch of theories going around. I watched the video. He claims that she charged at him, which is totally not true. By the time he shot her, her feet were pivoting to go the opposite way. Then they claim that he shot her because she was about to stab the other girl, which I am not saying, but what happened to tasers? What happened to pepper spray? What happened to all these things before we discharge the deadliest weapon that we have on our belt? What happened to that? What happened to just not even getting out with the thought process of wanting to go ahead and discharge a weapon? What happened to being a mediator? You get what I mean? It's that was really, really sad. So rest in peace to her, and rest in peace to Dante. Rest in peace to the 13-year-old also, again, that was shot in an alleyway. It's just, I don't understand it. At the end of the day, we've seen the difference of how treatment is rendered, or however you want to say, when it comes to it being a white person. We've seen mass murderers literally get to go on a fucking manhunt. You literally get to go on a manhunt for a few days or a week before they get them or capture them. We've literally seen them in the middle of the street. I've seen white people in the middle of the street on the internet with guns, with weapons, and instead of the cop discharging or arming himself, his hands are like that, pleading with the person, asking them not to shoot. And it's just so crazy how when you have a weapon in your face, you can put your arms up. When you don't have a weapon in your face, you can shoot. With that being said, I guess you can also understand why I chose to make this video, because I know that I'm not the only one that is super heavy with this emotion. I know I'm not the only one that is exhausted, that is drained, feels bittersweet about this verdict. I know that I'm not the only one that, in a sense right now, in one word, is kind of struggling with where do we go from here. The thing is, it's super heavy and sad right now that we even had to go to trial for George Floyd's murderer. It was an open and shut case. I don't care who you are. Let someone put a knee on your neck for 9 minutes, and I'm pretty sure that you will not survive from that either. Regardless of all the other things that they tried to throw in there to act like it was everything else besides Chauvin's knee that killed him. The other part of it that makes it so heavy is this is finally one verdict that goes down as a murderer. Every other verdict that we get always gets minimized into the smallest crime or the lowest, most minimum amount of time to be sentenced than getting actually what they deserve. This is going all the way back to like Rodney King. You know, I was a kid when Rodney was going through that. I'm talking about a kid, like less than 8 years old when he went through that. And we seen what type of justice he got. It took me all the way back to Emmett Till, who never got justice. And at the same time, a few years ago, before the lady, his accuser, died, she literally admitted that she was lying. What was the point of her admitting that she was lying again? So she couldn't die with what? So she can die with the easy heart, so she can ease her heart before she dies, is why she admitted that she was lying. But it doesn't matter. He's dead. He been dead. You lived the whole life while you knew you were lying. So again, purpose. What was the reason? But I know that I'm not the only one that was able to take that and throw that all the way back to that time, which is over 50, almost 60 years ago. It doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. The worst thing about it is they constantly put us in these situations where we get PTSD, where we get trauma, and we're never really able to release that trauma or heal from that trauma or try to work on the PTSD because it continues to happen. When Chauvin's verdict was being read out, the 15-year-old was being killed in that exact moment. So it's almost like you want to say, yay, we got justice, but what the fuck? What's the point of justice if it's not going to end? Is where my head is at right now. If it's not going to propel us and move us further, if it's not going to stop them harassing us and killing us and doing things like that, then it really makes you feel okay. And let's talk about what I did when the verdict was read. So y'all know I'm extra. That's who I am. I don't really care. When the verdict was read, I was just about to eat. As soon as I seen breaking news that they were about to read it, I placed my food down and I was on my bed like this and praying, saying he has got to be found guilty. I love the way that the prosecutor literally went and nailed the coffin. Like every time the defense tried to say something, the prosecution was like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And this is the facts. These are the truths. They really came in there and they did the damn thing. There were like, I don't know how many people the state had on their side, but they did their damn thing. That's how I was waiting for the verdict. And when I heard the first guilty, guys, I screamed so loud. I yelled so loud. And then right after that, the waterworks. I began to cry. I began to hyperventilate. I had anxiety in that moment. I had worry in that moment. Like, I went through every emotion possible when I heard the verdict. There was joy, there was sorrow, there was happiness, there was sadness. There was every emotion that a human being is capable of going through is what I went through when those verdicts were read. Then I went into praying. Then I went into anger. Like, it was a full circle of emotions, because I was happy, but then I was extremely angry because he never had to die like that. He never had to get there. And then the fact that we had to go to trial to prove a case that was quote unquote open and closed. You get what I mean? It was just a lot. I don't know about you guys, but I was literally stuck and submerged in a trial every single day. When I went to visit my family, I had my family watching it. I had to watch at least for the first week. I think I watched every day. And then after I started take it every other day. But if I had the TV around me, Court TV, HLN, MSNBC, it was on some channel that was going to keep me updated on what was going on in the case. Thank you very much, Donna Williams. You are definitely one of our heroes in that. When you got up there on that stand, boy, you never let them tell you what to say. You always said what you wanted to say. And I appreciate that, because they were really trying it, guys. They were really trying it. Like, all the things that the defense came up with was just like, reaching. This is where you at. This is where you trying to go. What are you doing? What? The crowd, the carbon monoxide. Bro, you don't inhale carbon monoxide unless somebody sits you there and makes you inhale it. It's not like George was there like, oh yeah, this carbon monoxide smell good. He said, what now? Oh, okay, because that's some foolishness. Oh, appreciate you. Also appreciate the 18-year-old, well, she's 18 now, but the 17-year-old that first initially started to record. Many people have said if it wasn't for her bravery of recording, we probably would have never even got to this place, because you know how they would have buried it, covered it up, and we would have never even heard George Floyd's name. There would have been nothing. There was also a part of me that was I felt very guilty. Even though I'm a Black woman living in America, I've had my encounters with police. But I've been very blessed that my encounters have not gone to that level. In any case, they've never touched me. They've been assholes, but they've never touched me. And I felt kind of guilty that he had to suffer like that and go through that much pain, or for something that constantly people keep saying was nothing but a ticket, or in other neighborhoods was nothing but a don't come back to this store anymore. Well, something so simple as that. Sometimes when you go to your local stores, if you use a counterfeit bill, or if you theft or steal anything, it doesn't even get to that level. Sometimes the cops are not even called. The manager just handles it. I feel so bad for all the people that were witnesses that continued to feel like it was their burden and their responsibility to save his life. I even heard that the cashier, even though he didn't call, felt like he wished that he would have just gave the $20. It's just, so many people were hurt behind this. So many people were like just wounded behind having to see George Floyd suffer like that, while he cried for his mother, while he cried to breathe, while he cried to say, listen, I'm not saying that y'all don't have to take me to jail. I'm just saying don't kill me. I genuinely feel in my heart of heart that George knew he was going to die that day. I literally feel that's why he had so much anxiety. That's why he was so afraid. Guys, I really don't want to start crying because this dream makes me super emotional. I really do feel like that's why he was so adamant on just letting them know, listen, I'm a good guy. Don't treat me like this. Don't do me like this. Whatever you want me to do, I'll comply. Just understand that I'm going through something right now, and it's not easy for me to swallow what I'm going through to comply with what y'all want me to comply with. On top of that, let's talk about how when the first officer came to the window, how he already had his gun drawn and he was already cursing. He was already cursing at George on a very aggressive, elevated level that was not called for. That was not called for, which is how we know that to treat a Black person like that, it's not an individual thing, it's a system thing. They're taught to be aggressive with us like that because, quote unquote, we're so aggressive. But I ask you a question, if you're not a Black person watching this. If someone comes to you and they're super aggressive, grabbing on you like you're their property, cursing at you like you don't have a right to be treated with respect, how would you react? Would you react calm or would you get aggressive? Would you have anxiety? Would you have fear? Like, how would you act? I'm pretty sure as a human, you would act the same way that George was acting. Scared, worry, anxiety, fear. You would have all those emotions inside of you because you just don't know what your fate was going to be. I always find it interesting that white people pretend or are committed to not understanding our fight with law enforcement. The first thing they say is, I love law enforcement. They keep my area safe. They do, don't they? You know why they keep your area safe? Because they're not there to hunt you. When they come into my area, they're there to hunt me. They're acting like this is the safari and they're gonna kill as many wild animals as they can. Of course, our interaction with police are gonna be different because you're not treated the way that we are treated when it comes to police. I always find that so funny that that's what they're committed to always say. I would suggest that you step outside of your box. Literally, step outside of your box and ask other people how they're treated instead of just continuing to keep the idea of what you have in your head. That makes no sense when that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth about policing, when we are trying to make people aware and have people acknowledge what it is we go through. Let's talk about the fact that so many of us, even though the case was open and closed, had such disbelief. So yeah, we had like literally no faith in knowing that this would be a guilty verdict. We knew that it should be, but we weren't sure that it was going to be. That is really something that all of us went through, that emotional roller coaster waiting for the verdict, when we knew that hands down the verdict was guilty. We knew that, but somewhere deep in our soul, somewhere deep in our heart, because we don't get justice, we were just still a little like, I remember talking to my family and saying, it gotta come back guilty. And my family saying, yeah, it should, but we just don't know that it will. That's something that we constantly deal with, and knowing that we're not going to get the better half of the stick, if you want to put it like that. Well, right now, I would like to just tell a little story time about some of my interactions with cops. I'm born and raised New York, yes. And NYPD is one of the biggest blue gangs out there. Every other state tries to model NYPD because NYPD for decades have been looked at as fear. They've been looked at as in control, which they're not, but you would only know that if you're from New York. If you're watching TV, then you would definitely bite into this narrative or eat it up that they really run New York. If you think so, they're assholes. I mean, I've had encounters with cops that were just ridiculously stupid. You get what I mean? Like, just to want to aggravate me, to see how they could get me out of character, to then have something to put on me so that they could arrest me or do something to me. I remember dealing with noisy neighbors, right? I went upstairs and asked my neighbors to be quiet. They proceeded to call the cops on me, y'all, and tell the cops that I walked upstairs with a broomstick. The cops came, knocked on my door, asked me why I went upstairs threatening the people upstairs. I looked at him and I said, do I look like I threatened anybody? He says, they told me you came upstairs with a broomstick. I said, okay. You see that camera that's in that corner? Run it back. Because you're going to see what I came upstairs with or what I didn't have when I went upstairs. That was one that they were just... Then I remember like crying. I'm super emotional, so when I get upset, I'm gonna cry. That's the best way for me to calm down before I knock your head off your fucking shoulders. So I'll cry. I remember crying, and I remember him screaming because my brother had opened the door. I remember him screaming, "You're gonna go to jail. What am I gonna go to jail for? Crying? I'm gonna go to jail for being emotional. I'm gonna go to jail because you're coming to my apartment with bullshit. I'm gonna go to jail for that. What did I do, officer?" But that's how they're trained to come to situations when they see black and brown people. They're not trained to come to a situation and say, okay, this is a human being. She could be having a little emotional breakdown right now. Let's just let her cry. It seems like she's in her own dwellings. We can move forward. No. Instead, you try to make me feel like I'm a threat to you for having emotions. There's another time that I was going to work. And if you know anything about the projects, you know, all projects have their own parking lot. So I was going to work, and it was right before time for me to go to work, and I was sitting in the parking lot. When you park in the parking lot in the projects, you're supposed to have like a card or a sticker or something that says that you're a resident. I never got out my car. My car was never idle. I was in my car the entire time. The engine was off. I was literally just sitting in my car waiting for like 10 minutes before it was time to clock in to go to work. I see behind me a van. If you know anything about New York, you know most of the time that's DTs. They are either looking for weapons or they're looking for guns or anything like that because they have plain clothes on, like street clothes. So at that time, Babe had dreads in his hair. So you already know where this is going. You already see the stereotype. He had dreads. He's a black male. He was picking lint off of his pants, but in their perspective, they see two black people, one with dreads, looking down like this. You guys know what they thought he was doing, rolling a spliff. So I seen them. And I told him, I said, babe, the cops are about to come up to us and question us and ask us what we're doing. I'm just letting you know so you're not startled. They probably think that you're rolling a blunt, but we know that you're not, so we have nothing to worry about. As they did. So they come to the car, one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side. There's a Hispanic and a black male, right? They come to the windows, and there's the Hispanic one, and he's asking, babe, you know, we see you don't have a sticker, so we know that you're not supposed to be parked here. We look at him and say, we're not leaving the car. We're parked here just because we're about to get out, and she's going to go to work. This is what babe is saying. She's going to go to work, and then, you know, we'll be leaving. He's like, oh, okay, no problem. He get it. He like, all right, just letting you know if anybody else try to come say something to you, just let them know that. That's the Hispanic one. Y'all, the black one proceeds to think that he's gonna press me. So he's like, what are you doing here? I said, didn't you just hear the answer that we just gave your partner? Well, what time do you have to be to work? I said, I have to be to work at 2 p.m. Well, what time is it now? I said, I don't know what time it is. His partner said, oh, it's 1:45. He's still persistent. What time is it? What time is it? Like, that right there is uncalled for. You seem so upset that you couldn't do anything to these two black people that now your attitude has to get nasty and aggressive for what? Your partner already okayed it. You look like a fool to still keep going hard. But this is the way that they come talk to us. And it's not only white cops. It's your own black cops too, your own Hispanic cops. This is how they brainwash them. They brainwash them in the academy to say, this is the target. This is who you go after. Regardless of what this person is over here doing, that's your person. That's your target. Go get that one. So at the end of the day, when you look at it like that, you want to say to yourself, this is the system, and the system is likely to not change. The system has been this way. How many of the cops that are cops now are ascendants of the KKK members? We know that back in the day, there were no black cops. Every cop was white because, again, that's your target. Go get them. You're not going to put a black person on the force. That makes no sense, right? Right. That's where we are originating from. How do we think that this is ever going to change when that's the point of origin? How? It's likely to never change, no matter how hard we fight, which is so sad. But it's likely to never change because this has already been our history. This is our present day. This will be history again some other day. That's all history does, is repeat itself. I find it so funny that people constantly want to act like we are so removed from slavery. Well, I have something to tell you. Guess what? No, we're not. I would ask all my black and brown people that's watching this video right now, if you have a great-grandfather, a great-grandmother, a grandmother, or a grandfather, I would ask you, if they're willing to talk about it, go ask them, were they slaves? Go ask them, were they at least the first generation that was out of slavery? My grandfather is 76, and my grandfather was a slave. You wouldn't think so, right? But he was. He's told us plenty of stories about him and his father selling pigs and working in the field and doing this and doing that. And you wouldn't think that someone that close to you, literally, was a slave. Which means that I'm only second generation out because he's my mother's mother. Like, the PTSD and the trauma that you guys continue to put us through it's bullcrap. And then you constantly want to act like the little, like they have this thing of community, right? Like community outreach or some shit like that. And all they do in the community outreach is give toys and give food to black and brown people that are in poverty. That has nothing to do with learning the community. It's not like you're going to remember me or notice me when you pull me over. So what? In order for you to see me as a human, you need to know my name. You need to know where I live. You need to know where I grew up. That's the only way that you'll be able to change your perception and see me as a human. Wow. Do you know every white person's name? You know all of them? Oh, because regardless of what they do, they get to they get to be treated like humans. Regardless of what they do, they get to be treated like humans. So why do you need to know all my background and information to treat me like a human? Make it make sense. It is truly exhausting to be in this place that we are right now. There are times that I, in my own deep private thoughts, I struggle with thinking if I want to have kids, which is really sad. But I struggle with thinking if I want to have kids because I don't want to bring my kids into this. And obviously, I can't base having kids off of that one, situation. But it's a big situation to me. Because if I have a son, I know that I have to sit up every single night and pray that he makes it home. If I have a daughter, I have to sit up every single night and pray that she makes it home too. I don't know about y'all, but let me have some kids and something happens to them, I'm taking a whole police force. Some type of way, me and my family will figure out how we going to do what we got to do. I'm not going through that. I'm not going through that. Every time that another Black person is killed, we have the mothers. Sabrina, Michael Brown's mother, Eric Gardner's mother. Sabrina is Trayvon Martin's mother. They all have to rally. Every time that another child is killed, they have to rally. And it's a beautiful thing that they're there for one another, but it's also a deep, sad thing. It's so sad that is how they have to create a bond off of grief and sadness, off of injustice. Think about if that's how you created your village or gained your friends, was through so much grief. That just can't be healthy. To know that every time your phone rings, it's probably because somebody else has been shot. Somebody else has been killed. More power to them. I can't say I couldn't do it. I can't say I could do it. I would just say more power to them. I don't know how they do it, but I think it's a blessing that they do have one another so that they don't feel alone. I mean, that's really sad, right? To have companionship over saying my son was killed by the police and so was yours. Like, that's not a way that you want to get to meet people. What? How? We as Black people have been through so much that some days, guys, I don't know how we are able to still walk around and smile and laugh and still have Black joy. Day in and day out, it is always something that is thrown in the pot to try to minimize or to try to eliminate, shall I say, our Black joy. I don't know how we do it. I know that the strength comes all the way back from our ancestors. I know that we are just strong people, and I hate to say that, but that's one of the words that describes the Black community above all. I'm not talking about not being intelligent. I'm not talking about not being beautiful. I'm not talking about not being business creators or owners or whatever you want to say. But I am saying that every time you see something, it's always a Black person having to hold their head up and be strong. That's all we know how to be, even when we don't want to be, even when we don't feel like we're capable of doing it. That's all we know how to be, is strong. I need to try this other wine. Hold on. So that one was good. I'm gonna try the rose one now. I've been really emotional. I've been really in a funk, if I'm being honest and transparent. I've been really all over the place. Let's see what this one tastes like, guys. This one is a little strong. I don't know that I like the smell, but it also could be the sage. Y'all, this sage is still burning. Sis did not want to go out. Maybe that's why I'm so calm and not yelling. Oh yeah. I don't really like the rose like that, y'all. That's not, I really like the white Zinfandel more. So for me today, guys, the white Zinfandel was much better than this rose. I could do without the rose, but I'm going to drink it because I put it in my cup. Yeah, I've been all over the place. I've been emotionally drained. I've been mentally still. I've been emotionally agitated. Like, one moment I am dancing, the next moment I'm in bed. Not that I'm depressed or anything's wrong with me. I'm just in bed. You know what I mean? This is literally like the first video that I've recorded in about 3 weeks. All the other videos were already pre-recorded. No, not 3 weeks. Maybe a week. Maybe 2 weeks. Maybe 2 weeks, guys. Maybe 2 weeks. Did I say that the verdict was bittersweet? I think I did, right? And on one half, you're just super elated and you feel like this one helps. You feel like this one helps, sadly. It helps because no one else got justice. I mean, not even George Zimmerman, which was a citizen. He was also told to stay in his car. He was, right? Right. He was told not to get out. He was told not to pursue. He was told not to chase. He was told all those things, and he was able to still get away with murder. So just, what, a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, this motherfucker deadass put up the gun. The gun that he shot Trayvon with on auction. And this is why we find it very aggravating, annoying, and very hard to not understand how y'all don't see what we going through. If someone killed your child, was able to get the weapon back that they killed your child with, was able to get away from going to jail, and then has the audacity to place the gun on auction for someone. Really? 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 You can't see why that's frustrating. You can't see why that is emotionally damaging. You can't understand that. You can't, or you choose not to. A lot of y'all are constantly saying, oh, I can't understand it, I can't see it. And my thing is, I don't think that y'all can. I think that y'all don't want to. Privilege is not something that anyone will want to give up easily. Privilege is something that people will want to hold on to. You know, the part that's getting me more is that more and more each day, we are becoming more intertwined. There are a lot more interracial couples, a lot more interracial, biracial babies. Is you guys know that your bloodline is not staying as white as it was before, right? So now you have to understand that even though you and your grandfather might have stood up against black people, now your grandchild is in love with a black person. She's not going to stand with you. She's going to stand with us, which means now you have division in the family. I could care less about that. But what I'm trying to say is I just don't understand the people that continue to try to justify these senseless killings. I don't understand the people that continue to just say, oh, just comply, just comply, just comply. You just comply. Because I've seen plenty of videos where white people have been pulled over and have dropped every F-bomb, every MF-bomb, every bitch that they could, and still get to drive away and go home to their family. Did you comply? So how come your resistance didn't get you a bullet in the chest? Oh, I know why. That's why. I mean, even recently with the lieutenant from Virginia, you can't get respect regardless of what your uniform is, as long as your skin has melanin in it. There are even black police officers who have spoke out about them not getting the respect that they deserve, or getting as much respect, or even the same dollar as their white counterparts. This is not a surface thing, guys. This thing is deep. I guess I'll just end because I said earlier, will it ever change? But what are we gonna have to go through? What are we gonna have to deal with for it to change? How many more people are gonna have to die? How many more families are gonna have to be broken and crushed before someone actually says enough? I find it funny that it's always black women are single mothers. The fathers don't take care of our kids. What about the ones that you guys have killed? You guys have in prison. That breaks up families too. All right, guys. Well, I tried to hold back my tears as best as I can because this video is very, very, very sad for me to make. That's why I kind of like drug my feet on making it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to place myself back in that emotional basket. Literally, while I'm sitting here with a beat face, I wouldn't need a beat face to come on here and have this discussion, but I actually did it so that I could pump myself up to talk about this without crying, without being mopey, without being sad, because it's heavy. It's really heavy. It's really sad. It's really exhausting to know that this is something that probably will never end. It will never end. The narrative has been too familiar through too many generations. My great-grandparents, my grandparents, my parents, the feeling and the narrative has been too familiar. You would think that our ancestors, which, let me tell you something, and I know that this can piss some people off, but there is nothing that I endure today that was anything close to what my ancestors endured years ago, centuries ago. They took the brunt of it, you know? They are the reason why we are able now to speak. We're able to vote, regardless of how much they try to suppress it. Just, you know, understand where I'm going with this. They are the reason why we are able to stand up and demand justice. It's rough, it's fucked up, and it's tough, but our ancestors really went through way much more than we could ever endure. Just imagine having to be brought. Just imagine being sold. Just imagine not knowing your own name, no individuality, no identity. At least I know my name. At least I know where I was born. At least I know where I came from. You know, our ancestors had no identity. They were stripped from everything. The basis of having a name means much more to people than we can think. When someone beats you, when someone rapes you, when someone starves you, like all these things, regardless of how tough it is, I know that if it wasn't for my ancestors, I would not be able to be here right now talking. I do want to tell them thank you. I do want to say that I'm sorry that they had to endure as much as they endured, but I want to let them know that we're going to continue this fight. We are not going to quit. Because of what they went through, they've made us stronger, and we can just hope that one day it will get better. Like, that's all we can hope, is that one day it will get better. I don't know if it'll get better in my time. I don't know if I have kids and it get better in their time, but you have to have the hope that at least one day it's gonna get better. If you wake up every day with the honest truth that it's not, you'll never be able to smile. You'll never be able to be happy. You'll never be able to have joy. Like, there will be so many things that will be ripped away from us if we woke up every day with the honest truth of knowing that we have so much further to go. This is not going to be an easy fight. I hope that we are all ready. I hope that we're all strapped up. I hope that we have good villagers around us that can, help us and let us know that we're not alone. That's what this video is. This video is to let you guys know that you're not alone in this pain that you're feeling from what's going on in the world. It's not easy. It's not easy. This has been me for the better half of a week, literally crying. I'll just think about something and I'll just think about how fucked up it is, and I'm exhausted, so I have no more anger to give. I'm just exhausted. Like, I hope that this video is able to bring comfort to someone. I hope that I'm able to help you wake up the next day or wake up tomorrow and feel a little lighter. I hope that I made you feel understood. I just hope that it really helps someone, because I can imagine the mental anguish that we are going through day in and day out, Every single day you wake up, somebody else is being killed. Every single day you wake up, somebody else is being treated unfairly, or something is being done to them that would not be done to a white person. And it's taxing. It's taxing as fuck. It's taxing as fuck that I know that if I go outside and I'm too happy, someone's gonna look at me like, what the fuck are you so happy for? It's even harder for me now being in the South. That's a whole nother video, but it's even harder for me sometimes being in the South. Not in my area, thank God. Well, probably because I don't go outside, but not in my area, but it's down here. I most recently went to go get a pedicure, and there was a white elderly woman, and guys, she stared at me the whole time getting my pedicure. I'm getting a pedicure. What can I do? And what's bothering you so much that you have to stare at me the entire time I'm getting a pedicure? Like, literally, sis, I'm just getting my feet done. I have some cute ass heels or sandals I want to wear, so I want my feet to be cute. And the entire time you're watching me. I'll be doing another video on this, guys, because I think that this needs to be a safe space. I think it needs to be an open space. If there's anything that you're struggling with, comment down below and I'll try to get back to you. Even though every Black person is not related, in some way or another, we are related in that sense to one another. We've all had our own dealings with police. We've all had our own dealings with the judicial system, whether it was you personally or someone in your family. We've all dealt with this. We've all had these tears. We've all had these feelings. So yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I really do hope that this video helps somebody. Okay, so with that, guys, I'll say thank you so much for watching. If there's anything that I didn't talk about or any other talking points that you feel I should have talked about, feel free to please leave a comment down below and I will get back to you so that we can have an open discussion about those things. Listen, I know that I don't know everything. I'm only literally speaking from the points that I wrote down. This is the paper I wrote down that I could get off the top of my head. But these are just what I felt right now. It's just what I felt would give me a little ease. With that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video on your social media with friends, family, and foe. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.